So compiling with Makefiles. Now, I have to show you the setup here before really a lot of things can make sense. So first, I wanted to show you what files are in there. There's airplane.cpp.h. You can see that there. It's nothing crazy, but I'm also showing you something we're getting into eventually, which is called the dependency list. But it's showing you, part of that's being highlighted right now is showing you what's including what. So you'll notice that driver is including airplane.h, but also airplane.cpp is also getting airplane.h, and that's a big deal. And you're saying .h, and we'll get into that here in a second. So in our makefile that we have right here, we're going to go ahead and have an all tag, which is going to get the object of driver and the object of airplane. Now, so what that means is that, going back to our chart there, is that I can actually make some changes to airplane and not have to recompile everything, which is just the driver, sadly. But if we had multiple projects like airplane, boat, or something like that, I could just do airplane and, well, then it'll be just fine. The rest will be just fine. So that's what we're doing at the very end, is going to combine the two, which is happening right there. We're combining both of those objects and then going ahead and output our output.out for a response so that we can run it. So that's what's going on with all. Now remember, here's driver.o, and then here's the variable moving over here, driver.o. That's just these. Think of these as targets. These are dependencies. This all depends on this driver to do its job. So if I did make and all, or make, either one will work, is that it's going to go to driver first, complete all that. Then it's going to do the airplane.o, which is right here, and then do all of that. Now notice, for some reason, I don't have a run in here. I'm not sure why, but there's a clean in there and all that good stuff. But that's the overall setup for this. And again, and I keep going back to that chart that's showing up here, that chart's really telling us what to do. And you really need to chart out really what your code's going to be. That's why I'm showing the code here, or at least the files, I should say, but also the dependency chart that's showing up again, on why we're doing this and how it really affects the overall setup of our make file. So now, in the code part of the actual, what we've got here, this is what's happening. Now, in the header file, which is airplane.h, nothing crazy about it. Yeah, we have our includes for string and iostream. That's not really what we really care about when it comes to the make file. What we care about the make files, the source, which is airplane.cpp, is going to have the same includes iostream, but it is going to include airplane.h, which frankly makes sense, right? Because they're related. These two are related, so we need the CPP to include the .h. But over in the driver, we're taking a look at that, and it says, wait a minute, include airplane.h. It doesn't say CPP. So here's the interesting part about this, and it happens to because of the make file and the dependency chart that's again showing up, is that we're using the .h to at least get some of the definitions, or at least the prototypes and stuff like that. So driver knows, okay, well, I know what these are going to be eventually, but not all the details have been given to me yet. And the reason is because of this last part that we have up here with the all. The only way that we're going to run this is that we have compiled both the driver object and the airplane object, which includes both of these. So all three of these files are going to be combined into these two, driver by itself and airplane.o is the CPP and the .h put together, and then combine those two to get our output from there. So when we run everything, the driver and all the items that it calls goes, oh, of course, I know what that is now, because it's being included with the airplane object that has both the .h and the CPP within it. So it's very different on how we do this for a makefile. But again, the only reason why is because of this dependency and this dependency here with airplane.o. And notice it's including our CPP. CPP will include the .h with it, and that is our object for airplane.o. So it's all one big package, but at the very end. Otherwise, it's a very separate package. Just driver by itself an airplane by itself. And again, remember, we're doing that because we're going to try to silo some things here and there. If we had another project with this or another set of files with it, I forget what I called it, boat, then we could do that by themselves and compile just those on their own, especially if they're really big. We don't want to compile everything again. So that's why the setup is very different when we get to Makefiles and how we're including it using compile, include, and then merging our objects at the very end.